In a cramped apartment at midnight, Yuji stared at the floating Hunter system window. Underneath the normal interface, he had found a hidden console field.
The overflow point. Exactly where it should be.
The window flared cyan. Words burned across the air. Admin access granted.
It really is just code.
He raised his hand and edited his own Hunter rank. F to S in real time. Then a final change. S to C. In his previous life, Yuji had been a back-end developer. He recognized this system immediately. When he reincarnated into this fantasy world, the awakening system behaved exactly like the software he used to write. For 5 years, he had tested it like a penetration tester. Tonight, at 19, he finally found the buffer overflow.
I can edit any value, but if anyone finds out, it's over.
The admin panel floated before him, waiting. Yuji set his public rank to C and swore he would only use this power to fix what was broken. The power to edit reality settled heavy in his chest. Yuji thought of the ones this world had already broken.
Mio, her awakening data corrupted since the attack. The system calls her a failure, but it's just a broken variable.
The memory of his first day in this world. A system window too precise to be magic. It was code.
If it's code, it can be rewritten. Not for power, to fix what was never meant to break.
For 5 years he mapped its architecture, studying every flaw while the world called him a low-rank hunter.
Buffer overflow in the rank evaluation field. That was the key. Now I can edit the source itself.
He set a rule. No glory, no public edits. Only erase the errors that ruin innocent lives.
Taro, a treason record fabricated by a rival faction. He's rotting in prison because of a false data entry.
And Elara, the healer whose mana cap was drained by a glitch, left to die while the system logged decay.
Tonight, I start with Mio. Nobody else is coming to save them.
At dawn, Yuji slipped into Mio's small room. She lay motionless under the window's pale light, her awakening data a web of red errors.
The system calls this corruption, but it's just a malformed pointer. Fixable.
He summoned the admin panel, hiding the glow behind his back. One precise command, and the corrupted node dissolved. Fresh values streamed in, golden and clean. The error markers vanished from the overlay. Color seeped back into Mio's cheeks. Her breathing steadied, and the faint light of her mana returned.
Yuji, is that you?
I am here. You are going to be fine now.
Mio's eyes welled with tears, not from pain, but from the impossible weight lifting after so many years. She threw her arms around him, sobbing into his chest. Yuji held her tightly, the admin window already fading behind them.
One down. Taro and Elara next. But every edit leaves a footprint. They'll trace it eventually.
That night, Yuji sat at his cluttered desk and opened the system's prison records.
The falsified entry is crude, deleting it without leaving a log. Tricky, but doable.
With a single swipe, he overwrote the record. The red treason label dissolved into pixels in a prison tower. Taro's false treason record sputtered and vanished from his cell.
What the verdict? It's gone.
Next, Yuji found Elara's vitals. Her mana cap was critically drained, the system already logging her life as expendable.
Restoring it is just a parameter change. She shouldn't have to die because of a system oversight.
He adjusted the value. The mana bar on the screen rose, and the red warning vanished. In her clinic, Elara gasped. Color flooded her cheeks, and the dying herbs on her windowsill perked upright. But at the Hunter Association, a senior researcher stared at her console. Someone with admin-level clearance had just executed 3 unauthorized writes. Sora magnified the log timestamps and geolocated the origin, a residential tower block on the city's east edge.
Admin clearance hasn't existed since the system's creation. This should be impossible.
She dispatched an encrypted alert to the Hunter monitoring unit, ordering silent surveillance on the entire district.
pings on the admin socket. Someone is actively listening for echoes of my edits.
He immediately severed the session and scrubbed his local terminal, leaving only dead-end aliases.
No more edits for now. If they're tracing, even a small fix could lead them here.
On Sora's screen, the active trail vanished. It ended at a line of apartment buildings, but which window?
Fast. They know they're being hunted. This intruder isn't just lucky, they understand the system's architecture.
Yuji stood by his window, watching a dark vehicle idle 2 streets over. The feeling of being watched settled in his bones. The hunter became the prey. But Yuji had one advantage. He knew the system better than anyone chasing him. In a dark alley, Taro stopped short. 6 figures materialized from the shadows, the insignia of the faction that framed him on their cloaks.
You! The faction that framed me. Why can't you just let me go?
Across the city, Yuji watched through a hacked security feed. His admin panel glowed, fingers trembling over the keys.
If I intervene, the spike will be massive. But they'll kill him. I can't just watch.
He made his choice, a cascade of commands. Weapon permissions locked, assailant skills temporarily nullified. In the alley, the attackers' weapons froze mid-swing. Error messages flared around their hands. Taro stumbled back, then ran. At the association, Sora's console screamed with alerts. A massive admin spike, real-time, unlogged, and the coordinates boiled down to a single point.
There. No aliases, no masks. They've made their last mistake.
She locked the coordinates and dispatched a capture unit. The screen blinked. Unit 4B, East Tower. Yuji's apartment.
That was the last trace. They'll be here in minutes. I have to face them, or run.
The apartment door burst inward. Association guards flooded the small room, weapons drawn, shouting orders.
I am not going to resist. Let's go.
They cuffed his wrists and pulled a hood over his head. Yuji did not fight. The Hunter Association building loomed in the gray dawn light. The capture team rushed him through the main entrance. He was brought to a sterile room with a metal table and 2 chairs. The air hummed with the faint buzz of a recording device.
They'll ask about the admin spike, but every edit I made was to fix a broken piece of their system.
In an observation room, Sora studied the monitor. The person who had eluded her was a 19-year-old man with a still expression.
He's just a kid. But those eyes, they aren't scared. They're calculating.
The door slid open, and Sora entered. The room grew colder. She sat across from him, placing a thin folder on the table. The hunter who broke the system and the researcher who had chased him now faced each other.
How did you gain admin clearance? No user should have that level of access.
I'll show you. It's a buffer overflow in the rank evaluation field.
He raised his bound hands, but Sora allowed it. A miniature admin panel flickered to life above the table. Lines of code ran, then the overflow command. Sora's eyes followed the code execution. The same exploit she had hidden 2 centuries ago.
You are not the first to find that. I wrote this system, Yuji, 200 years ago, in another life.
You? You are a reincarnator? The original creator?
In a flash, Yuji saw a young woman in a laboratory, her fingers weaving magic and logic into a temporary scaffold for humanity.
It was meant to last 50 years. It's been running unmaintained for 150. The rank inconsistencies you've seen are symptoms of decay.
So it wasn't just a bug. The whole system is failing.
The room fell silent. The hunter and the creator now faced a single truth. The system had to end, or it would take the world with it.
These are the original blueprints. The system was never meant to govern forever. It was a scaffold to boost humanity's survival during the monster invasions.
Then why wasn't it decommissioned?
I died before my work was completed. My successors saw the system as permanent. No one knew the truth, until now.
The weight of 2 centuries settled between them. A system built to save lives had become a prison of corrupted data.
We need to shut it down, but we can't do it alone. The system will resist. We need a council of reincarnators, 7 of them, to distribute the admin load.
Other reincarnators, how do we find them?
I've been tracking soul signatures for decades, 7 anomalies across the continent. With your admin access, we can confirm them.
Yuji extended his cuffed hands, and Sora unbound them without hesitation.
Then we do this together. No more hiding.
The alliance was sealed. 2 reincarnators against a dying system, hunting for 7 more before the decay became irreversible. From Sora's library, Yuji drilled into the system's core tables using his admin privileges. Soul signatures unique to reincarnators bloomed like stars on the continent map.
7. Confirmed. But the northern one is a guild master, Kale. He's built his entire power on the rank system. He'll never agree to tear it down.
Kale leads the Iron Pact. His guild controls northern trade routes through ranked privileges. If we approach wrong, he could turn the whole north against us.
Yuji stared at Kale's profile on a secondary screen. A man with a jagged scar across his jaw. His status littered with S-rank accolades built on system exploits Kale himself had quietly accumulated.
He's not just resisting change, he's gaming the same broken code. He'll see our shutdown as a direct attack.
Then we don't ask. We show him the decay logs, projected collapse within 5 years. If the system falls, his guild crumbles anyway.
They left the capital that evening, crossing mist-choked valleys to the Iron Pact fortress. The air turned cold as stone. At the fortress gates, 2 guards in black iron crossed their spears. A gruff voice demanded their business.
We're here to see Guild Master Kale. Tell him we have proof that the system is dying, and a way to survive its collapse.
The guards exchanged glances, then pushed open the heavy gate. Inside, the fortress hummed with the cold glow of unregulated system windows. A guild built on exploiting the very decay they had come to end. Guild Master Kale awaited them in his throne room, flanked by floating rank screens. His scarred face twisted into a cold smirk.
We're not here to threaten your rank. The system itself is dying. Here are the decay logs.
Kale's eyes narrowed. The data showed rank corruption spreading like a disease. In 5 years, the entire classification structure would collapse.
He still sees this as a power grab. He won't believe until he sees the flaw himself.
Yuji opened an admin window and executed the buffer overflow right in front of him. Red warning flares blazed across the room. Kale stood frozen as the exploit changed a mock rank from D to S and back to D. The flaw was undeniable.
This hole exists in every rank evaluation. Someone could strip your S rank in a breath. We can fix this, but only by shutting the system down together.
Kale stared at the fading code, then spoke slowly. He said he would join, but on one condition. He demanded an emergency fail-safe. If the shutdown failed, the system would revert, and his guild's rank privileges would be protected. Yuji and Sora exchanged a glance. The fail-safe would make the shutdown far more dangerous. But without Kale, the council was incomplete. Yuji accepted. The first wedge was driven. That night, Yuji sat alone in his apartment. The admin panel hovered before him, its cold light the only glow in the room.
If I give this up, Mio has no safety net. But if I don't, the system will collapse. She loses either way.
He remembered the morning she woke. No system window, just her own color returning to her face. She threw her arms around him, laughing. For the first time, she wasn't a rank. She was just his sister.
That's the world I want for her. Not a scaffold that called her a failure.
He closed the admin panel. Darkness filled the room, broken only by the distant city lights.
Taro and Elara, they're free now. They don't need my direct hand anymore.
Outside, the streets hummed with people whose status screens were already flickering with decay. They didn't even know.
I'll let it go. Not for power, but so everyone can be human again.
He turned from the window. The decision was final. He would go to Sora and set the shutdown in motion. Yuji and Sora gathered the Council of Seven in the system core chamber. They began the shutdown sequence, linking their admin privileges. As Yuji entered the final command, the air screamed. A massive lock icon materialized across the sky above the city. Red warning chains erupted from the system core, lashing at the council members. The room shook with a deafening klaxon. One reincarnator, a young woman with trembling hands, screamed, "It's fighting back. We'll all die if we don't stop." She moved to sever her link.
Stay connected. If we break now, the backlash will be worse.
Sora's voice cut through the panic. The system is desperate. This lock means we're close to the shutdown point. We can still do this.
The lock is tied to the fail-safe. Kale's condition tripped a protection subroutine. I need to isolate it.
Yuji split his screen, diving into the lock's code. It was a recursive barrier. Any attempt to break it triggered a cascade. He needed a collective override.
All 7 of us have to push through at the same moment. That's the only way.
He looked up at the trembling council. The lock's chains tightened. Time was running out. Yuji held up his open admin panel, the lock's code splintering across it. A collective override was the only way through.
We must all push at once. No hesitation. If one of us holds back, the recursion will bury us.
The young reincarnator who had panicked before clutched her chest. Her face was white with fear.
I won't lie. The risk is real, but if we do nothing, the system collapses. Maybe not today, but soon. We are its last fail-safe.
Kale stepped forward, his scarred face unreadable. Then he nodded and placed his hand firmly on the central link. One by one, the others followed. The terrified young woman closed her eyes and pressed her palm to the gathering light. The circle was complete.
On my mark, pour your admin rights into the lock's core. I'll synchronize the buffer.
Whatever happens next, we face it together. No more hiding.
Admin panels flared cyan across the chamber. The chains of the lock tightened one last time, then began to quiver. Yuji's finger hovered over the console. One keystroke would either free the world or break it. He pressed down. The keystroke sent a pulse through the linked console. Every admin panel flared white-hot simultaneously, cyan chains recoiling from the lock. From each reincarnator, a sphere of cyan light, their admin rights detached and drifted toward the central lock's core.
Keep the pressure even. Don't let the lock's recursion find a gap.
The globes merged into a single radiant orb, spinning faster as the lock's chains rattled and screeched.
It's working. The lock's recursion is breaking.
A hairline crack split the lock's face. Then another. The recursive barrier shattered in a cascade of glass-like fragments. The shock wave knocked several council members to their knees, but the circle held, 7 hands still linked.
The lock is gone. But this is just the outer defense. The core shutdown is next.
Sora's eyes met Yuji's across the blazing console. The collective admin access now pulsed within them. 7 keys for the final lock. The council stood, drenched in sweat but alive. The lock was shattered. Now they faced the system's living heart. Yuji stepped into the system's core chamber. The giant crystalline heart pulsed with sickly light, red veins threading its surface. Red energy barriers flared to life around him. The self-preservation protocol had detected his admin signature.
It won't let me near without a fight. But I've mapped this architecture for 5 years.
He summoned multiple admin panels and began to hack the barrier's frequency. Fingers flying across the keys. The red shield sparked and pushed back. But Yuji exploited the same overflow logic the system itself used.
Just a buffer overflow. Rewrite the address. Redirect the lock.
Code cascaded across his screens. The red energy flickered, then shattered like ice. Yuji staggered forward. The console now stood bare before him, a single command prompt awaiting input.
This is it. The final shutdown command. Once I execute this,
The council's collective admin power hummed through his screens, holding the core's last aggression at bay. Yuji's fingers struck the final key. The console flashed white, and the council's power surged through the link. A shockwave exploded from the core, rippling through the building and into the city beyond. The giant lock icon in the sky split in two, then dissolved into fading pixels. Across the continent, Hunter rank badges flickered and went dark. The system's backbone was crumbling.
It's done. The system is dying, and the world is still here.
The crystalline core cracked down its center, chunks of data stone peeling away and evaporating. In the streets, people gasped as the ever-present system windows winked out of existence.
It's over. The scaffold is finally falling.
Yuji and Sora stood among the council, watching the system they had both hacked and created dissolve into silence. The last red error messages scrolled into nothing. The system that had ruled for 2 centuries was finally quiet. In the streets, chaos erupted. Hunters clutched at empty air where their status screens had been, shouting in confusion.
Citizens, do not be afraid. The system was a temporary scaffold, now decommissioned. Your innate abilities remain. We are free.
Her voice echoed from the association's public speakers, cutting through the panic. Slowly, the shouting quieted.
I need to find Mio. She must be scared.
Yuji ran through the streets, past former hunters, now simply people. Without ranks, they were all the same. Yuji found Mio on their front step. She threw herself into his arms, laughing and crying at once.
The screens are gone. Is it really over?
Really over. No more ranks. Just us.
Around the city, the association broadcast Sora's explanation. Slowly, the fear turned to cautious hope. The first day without the system ended in a quiet sunset. The world felt bigger, and for the first time, truly human. A week passed. The city, once cluttered with floating windows, now felt open. Yuji and Mio walked through the morning market.
I still reach for my status sometimes, but there's nothing there. Just air.
That's all it ever was. Air and code. You are more than any rank.
A few streets over, Taro stood at the guard post. No badge marked his uniform, just the quiet pride of honest work.
Morning, ma'am. No goblin sightings today. The gate's secure.
Elara tended her revived herb garden. Without the mana cap, her vitality had returned, and new sprouts pushed through the soil.
No more decay. Just the earth doing what it should.
On a quiet balcony, Sora watched the city stir. For the first time in 2 centuries, her creation was silent, and the weight was gone.
It lasted 50 years, then 100 more. Now it's over. They'll be fine.
The world turned without the system. No ranks, no decay, just people living their own lives. The last glitches faded into memory. On the final day of the council's gathering, Yuji found Sora on a quiet terrace overlooking the freed city.
You did it. You gave up the power no one else would.
I almost didn't, but Mio's face when she woke without the system, that was all the proof I needed.
Sora poured tea into 2 small cups. The council had dispersed, each member returning to their lands to oversee the transition.
For 200 years, I waited for someone to fix my mistake. You were that person.
Yuji looked down at his hands. No admin panel, no ghostly code, just skin, just light.
It was never magic. It was just lines of text that someone forgot to turn off. It really was just code.
The words hung in the air, the same ones he had whispered the night it all began. But now they weren't a discovery. They were a farewell. Sora smiled, and the last weight of 2 centuries lifted. Together, they watched the horizon, where a world without windows was already blooming. That evening, Yuji returned to his cramped apartment. The clutter was the same, but the air felt lighter. He sat at his desk, the spot where countless code windows had flickered. Now only dust motes floated in the lamplight.
I used to reach for it without thinking. Now my hand just rests.
A soft breeze slipped through the open window, carrying the distant sound of a city no longer ranked. He looked at his empty palm, where the admin panel had once glowed. No cyan light, just skin.
It really was just code.
He smiled, not the cold half-smirk of a hacker, but something quieter, something done. Outside, the streetlights flickered on. People walked home, no screens in their way. The world was already moving forward, and for the first time, Yuji moved with it. He closed his eyes, and the only glow in the room was the moon. In a space without light, a single cyan system window remained, faint, translucent, the last echo of a forgotten scaffold. Across its surface, 4 words glowed softly. Admin access ended. The message held for a breath, the last command of a world that had governed humanity for 2 centuries. Then, pixel by pixel, it broke apart. Cyan particles drifted into the dark like snow in a windless night. No shockwave, no scream, just silence. The system that had become a prison was, at last, simply gone. The particles faded, the darkness settled. And for the first time in memory, there was nothing left to edit. A quiet reward for a programmer who had only ever wanted to fix what was broken. No more ranks, no more glitches. Only a world learning to be human again. And in the dark, the story closed. The end.